Hello viewers and welcome to another episode of Brave Namibia, where we celebrate both ordinary and extraordinary Namibians. In our first insert today, Monique Adams caught up with Ivan Mueze, who runs the after school and social awareness programs at the Keetmanshoop Multipurpose Youth Resources Centre.
Okay, my name is Ivan, better known as Fly, and my surname is Mueze. I was born in Windhoek, and I grew up in Omaruru. So it's where I went. I finished my school. So I finished my school in Omaruru. So I left my whole life, my childhood life, only in Omaruru. And so after school, I didn't have anything else to do. So I joined a youth group. Okay, and also because it's when I met Oyo. So I met Oyo at school during my grade 11. So I've been with Oyo since then. Then after finishing my school, I joined a youth group that was also supported by Oyo. So and after we had a tour in Kavango region, so whereby I did one of the main characters. So when you get back from the tour, they have to select an actor. Okay, so I got some few monologues. Photos. This is me. So here I was doing the Virgin Pumpkin monologue, one of the of my act, and also if you see that one is it's part of with the Oyo stuff. So with Oyo, most of the time we used to get trainings at the beginning of the year, of every beginning of the term, and so and also she said that. So it's also part of the act. So we were like given tasks, and also because we receive different professional people from the UK, so that comes, maybe we have somebody who did a drama, so they come to at least we do a workshop on we have a drama workshop. Maybe we have an expert in dancing, so we do dance workshop. So that's mostly I think that develop also my art skills. So when you get back from the UK, we could be able to share that with other young people. So it's when that Oyo see the potential in me, that okay, I have the skills of learning and teaching. So I've been everywhere in all the 14 regions, and I work with young people at school and out of school, and also work with offenders from different correctional facility in the country. So with that, the experience that I gained through the working with different young people, so I thought of like, why can't I just take a region and just go there and share the experience and work with young people that need it. That's the end. That's where I end up being in Keetmans. So this used to be my room. Because now there are also people booked here this time. So this is used to, but mostly I used to live here alone. So not with a group. So most of the time I used to come here, live alone here. This.
So what memories do you have here living in this?
So one of the guys that was a problem, we used to have movies here because I didn't want him to go out at clubs. So we decided, like, if you want to go out to clubs, you just come here, then we sit down, because I used to have a laptop, we put a laptop down there, then we watch movie for the whole night. The next morning, I take him back home. So that is the biggest memory of this when I get to mostly this room. Like, this room changed somebody's life until today. And also is the one running the after school programs, which is also very good.
Okay, name is Anthony Junior AJ. Werk as 'n volunteer by die sender van 2012 af, vir 'n lang tyd nou. Ek het vir Fly ontmoet deur okay, ek was besig om te drink, dink ek tog daar by my suster se huis. En toe kom loop hulle verby as 'n groep jong mense en toe vra die ou vir my of ek hier by die sender wil kom. En ek het gewonder like why would I want to do that? Maar as a few days went past, conscience began to gepla van my gewede en toe kom ek 'n try toe. Okay, ek het hulle in die saal kom gekry terwyl hulle stel en oefen. Hy het my nie klomp vrae gevra wat hy. Hy het net gesê, jy het gekom. En toe sê hy join. En dat is hoe ek begin het join. Over die eerste teken van ons lewe het hy vir my gewoonlik het my gestraf en as ek iets seker fout maak en so aan. Ek is baie kort van draad mens. Baie gehou van mense afknou en bully, alle goede was ek. Ek moet vloek, ek moet mense rondsit. En as dit nie my manier is, dan is dit nie gaan. Dis hoe ek was. En hy het geduld gehad, actually. Hy het baie geduld gehad. Hy het my altyd geluister as ek complain of as ek iets sê. Het hy my altyd geluister. Meerdere van die mense by die sender het niks van my gehou nie. As ek kom inloop, dan het hulle usually weggehardloop, like gegou of dan het hulle begin skoon gemaak en so voort. Maar tyd saam het dinge begin verander. Ek het self gerealiseer dat dat seker hoe ek wil lewe nie. Ek meen like dat voel sleg as mense vir jou sien en dan bang raak. Sê 'n goeie impression, nee. Sê iets nice, nee. Sê 'n gevoel. En ek het bietjie dat Fly se help. So hy het my gementor. Ek het op hom gekyk. Ek het sy examples gevolg. Ek het op my tempo gewerk. Alhoewel ja, hier en daar sal ek strop, maar ja, ek weet hoe om dit te hanteer. Enkele issues was daar, maar nou is het like, ek kan iets zien wat foto's of wat voor mij kwaad maakt en I'll be fine with it, like, I'll know how to handle it. Basis van daaraf het ek geprobeer om vir my aan elke training aan te sit. Ek het met verskillende youth groups gewerk. Ek het facilitation skills daarom gekry. Basically heb ik baie geleerd van hem af. En ik heb niet veel school klaargemaakt, maar ik kan maar zeggen, ik is meer geëquipt met knowledge als wat iemand met school klaar is. Dat hangt aan de zender, Fly, Noni, alle mensen.
Okay, as I said, I grew up in Omaru, so already we already know that Omaru is mostly a mixture of a Damara, Herero, and Novambo. So that's what there's those locations. There's a Herero location, the Novambo location, and there's a Damara location. Most of those years wouldn't mainly meet unless we fight. So the Damaras will maybe come to their location, then they fight their location, or most of the time we meet at the shop, we fight it around the shop, because the shops is just in the center of the locations. But to the fact that mostly people they didn't know that I was a Damara. So mostly they didn't know that I was a Damara. So and as we go along with this fight, we meet the Damara in our hero location, we beat them. So I end up at Upasen, which is a Damara school. So it's when I realized that, okay, now I'm at heart. So I'm at the home ground of those people that I was against. Then because the school was far, so most of the time I didn't go to school. So I make a U-turn. Because I stayed in my grandmom, I was raised by my grandmom also. So she raised me very well, and also, so every time she go to work, I make a U-turn, I come back from school until then the school decide, like the teacher, my class teacher also, because I was also very good with accounting and she was doing accounting, so I realized that, okay, why can't we put this child in a hostel? So I end up in the hostel. So in the hostel is when I learn about, okay, they were like whole time, as youngsters, we have a lot of gangsters, there were gang related fights and so on. So we grew up in an environment where gangs were all over, but it's not like nowadays gangs are mostly the way they okay, this one cannot be touched by this one is like, so they have names, so I could mention some few. One of the main one that were known in Omaru, it was the Line Boys, so they were very known, so which is from Wambo location, so there were few, so that was the main one. So so I know about gangsterism from a childhood. It's not something that I'm learning now. So when I get here, it is easily to say, okay, this one is a gangster, this one comes from a certain group. So because of the society I live in, makes me aware, like, okay, what is the right thing, when to walk when, and so which means it make me also careful, like every person you meet is not your friend. Huh? Why you like why you silver Panda? Oh, jelas klar. Nice ngama. That's any like man. That is always what they manage souk. Again, the ones and the last souk is so. So the money managing more pass. Yeah. Silva. This is where I work from. So because mostly I just go to the office. Maybe there's a computer problems, but mostly I worked here and I watch my movies. It's my relaxed place. So I relax here and I sleep here and I work from. Okay, this is where I always come for Saturday because I'm not a party person and I don't drink alcohol. So I'm not mainly somebody who go to parties, who go to bars, who go to clubs. At least $30, $30. And I hope there's somebody who will love to help and to assist at the center and make sure that we save more boys and also take care of young people.
Next up, Kamati Hasheela is a Windhoek entrepreneur who is creating new avenues in the digital space with his partners. Together, they developed a smart meter with various functions. He chatted to Esther Kamati.
Kamati Hasheela, co-founder here at Pulsar Electronic Solutions. Just a little introduction on what we do at Pulsar. So what we're doing currently is we're working on a smart meter. It's not just a smart meter, but it's a device that also incorporates a Wi-Fi solution to ensure that each house in the country that has a smart meter also has Wi-Fi through a 4G link. So that is about the company. So my interest specifically, I'm an electronics engineer by profession. I'm a graduate from the University of Science and Technology. I've graduated 4 years ago. My interest is basically in understanding how things work. I'm a very logic-based guy. So for me, before coming into engineering, I always had a desire to try to understand how things work from the fundamental level. So this is why I was very intrigued by the sciences and the mathematics, because they describe the world we live in a much more explicit way, and that would actually interest me. So before I came into university, I was basically a science fanatic, if I may say that. And I would then study a lot of things on my own that explain the world. And in order to understand how the world works, I needed to basically have the ability to change the world and have the knowledge that then empowered me to make these changes to the world. But coming onto the smart meter into electronics, I decided to choose the field of electronics mostly because it's a logic-based field, and also because it has a direct application, so you can apply your knowledge directly without essentially needing expensive equipment or without essentially needing to do a lot of extensive research. Before founding Pulsar Electronic Solutions, I worked at multiple companies where I worked as an electronics engineer. I also worked at several telecommunication companies as a radio engineering technician and a networking engineer. That is basically what gave me the understanding of the essentially the market, right, that the product will be operating in. Pulsar Electronic Solution was then founded with my co-founder, who's Adrian Laurel, who's a partner in the US, and also a high school friend of mine, and also some of my friends such as Morne, who basically we met at the Innovation Design Lab, where we were working on the solar taxi. He came on as a mechanical engineer, and then we then also have other key partners such as Delano and other partners on our board members. So currently there are no tools to monitor your low consumption, and there's no way to remotely interact with your meter. So that is the first problem. Secondly, also in Africa, we've determined that there is a gap between the internet penetration in Africa is at less than 50% in most African countries. And Namibia is very fortunate to have it up as high as 55%, but in other African countries can be low as 20 to 10%. So that is one of the problems. Secondly, also, the geyser in your house consumes more than 40% of your energy consumption. So we wanted to have a way that allowed the users at home to, use that in an efficient manner, or at least by efficient I mean like remotely schedule it or only have it coming on when it needs to be on. So that is essentially the product we're solving. We finalized the development phase, so we have a working prototype with all the required specifications that we've designed into the meter. So we can so what we're doing right now, in fact in the next few months, we'll be sending our device over for certification to the different certifying bodies, both in South Africa and in Europe, to basically certify the firmware and also to certify the energy metering. We are in phase to launch this project somewhere within this year. I'm interested in electronics and the field of software development at large. Basically started before I went to high school, I was always interested in technology, and I think most importantly I always wanted to understand things and how they worked at the fundamental level. So it was this important to gain knowledge in the sciences that allowed me to get a better understanding of how these technologies are developed. So coming to electronics, I initially wanted to do chemistry, but then I moved on to electronics, which was more logic based, and since I find logic very interesting, and then I did my electronics degree at NUST, and there are many fields in electronics. Basically there's electronics design, there's high voltage, and then there's programming. I was more interested in electronics, which works with low voltages and also allows you to program them. So what it does is it gives you the ability to basically customize your solution and also collect data from the environment and manipulate it in a way which you want. The fact of the matter is that there is this hardware at home that sits in every house, and I wanted to ensure that each child in Namibia, or every Namibian person has access to the internet. So it then became important for me to integrate the routing solutions into the metering solution, because that in a way, because there is a meter in each house. So you're kind of like saving cost on two different hardware that does two different applications. So that was the essentially the idea behind the smart meter that we're developing here. So in the technology space in Namibia specifically, we have a lot of creative people. I think I am one in 1,000, if not hundreds. So there are many creative guys. I've worked with a lot of them on this particular project. So I think that there's huge number of talents in Namibia, but obviously they are not given the opportunity. So most importantly, it's creating a platform that allows developers to basically apply their field. I think the challenges that developers like myself have is basically financing, so that in a way that these developers are given an opportunity to develop whatever solution or whatever business idea they have without caring too much about their basic needs. But also, I think that with the recent launch of the hydrogen project in Namibia, I think that that's going to bring in a lot of tech awareness. A lot of people are actually going to be in that field because, like they said, it will create multiple jobs, and it's a very diversified field. I think that that's definitely a good project for the country, and I look forward to see it implemented. Also, Electronic Solutions, as previously mentioned, is a software and hardware design company. So what we do is we focus on development of embedded systems and firmware development for those solutions, as well as more higher level software development for web-based applications. So we are currently working on a smart meter project, as previously mentioned. So this solution integrates metering, smart metering, and Wi-Fi to ensure that each house in Namibia that has a smart meter also has internet access. So initially there was no company. It was just me trying to implement a smart meter before I actually registered the company. So what I did is basically build up a proof of concept with all the different functionalities that we wanted to do. So before we could get interested parties into this idea, we basically had to show them what we wanted to do. So that is when I then developed these different subcomponents of the project and then presented them to my team members to gain their interest. And once I got a team together, it's then when we actually registered a company and then assigned shareholding and signed a government organization structure. So essentially that was the beginning of the product. So this is the smart meter. So here we're going to show you, here is the home screen of the meter. So on the home screen would show your daily usage as a function of time. So how much time, so each hour, how much you are using. So the reason why we have this feature here is because we want to make sure that people understand which time of the day are they using the most power and how can they basically optimize their power. The call function here is the ability to call your phone if it's lost. It's just a little function. Most people find it hard to call their phone, find the location of their phone. So you just come here, you call your phone, it will ring, and once you pick up, it will hang. Secondly, we have the interface to basically control the geyser in these 3 different modes. So we have the manual mode, the schedule mode, and the timer mode. So turn it off and on. So this is manually. And then we also have the ability to schedule it. So we can set a schedule on a weekly basis. So you select the days that you want the meter to come on, and then you set the start time and the end time. We then have the ability, so here is then like some properties of the meter. So some people don't like the screen to be so bright, so we can adjust the brightness. And then we also have basically the ability to essentially set up your SSID and your password for your Wi-Fi routing solution. Now, we can also connect to the meter remotely. So importantly, we have an app that we've developed to interface with this meter. So as I said before, all those features that I spoke about can be done through the meter through a one click. So we just have to click here to connect to the meter. So basically, just one click, you can connect to the meter. The meter will notify you. There you have your power consumption. That is how much the progress bar indicates how much power you have. And then we also have these different features. And here again is the amount of power that is used per day. So here, for example, we are then going to turn off the geyser, for example, from our app once we've connected to Bluetooth. So I can turn it off. It gives me a notification. So now it turns off, and I can also turn it on. If I want it to go on and off, I can also turn it on.
Thank you for tuning in. If you know of someone you feel should feature on Brave Namibia, please contact us at brave@nmh.com.na.